Check, check, testing one. Everything here seems to be working. Welcome back to Southern Tulane. This is our season 1, episode 15, and he is calling the Golden Doodle over. So welcome, Sully.
It's not the intent.
To the podcast and video. Those of you that are not watching, well, you're missing the Doodle Show. Anyway, so we are back and excited about continuing this podcast. And we've got a lot of things that we've got that has happened since we did our last one back in March of this year when we were in Daytona. We just released an episode of a transition from Ragnar Riders to Southern Tulane. So this is really our first official episode of Southern Tulane. So welcome, DJ. Good to have you, buddy. What you been up to?
Same stuff, different day, man. Getting ready to kick off riding season. It's been so hot. We've gotten a few little rides in when I could, but I'm anxiously awaiting the weather change and get to lay down some miles.
You guys, and we mentioned in the last episode that you and John actually went to Missouri.
Yeah.
And you guys experienced the same thing we did in Sturgis. So we were in Sturgis for 2 weeks, and the first week it was 100 degrees, and then the second week it was 80 degrees, which we loved better.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to experience both worlds, and I think you guys either started in the cool or ended in the warm, or started warm into the cool while y'all were up there, didn't you? Y'all were only there for like what, 3 days, 4 days?
Yeah, just a few days. But man, that first evening that we got ready to, I think we were leaving dinner one night or something, and I think we rode a few miles down the road and then pulled over and were like, I have some sleeves on. This is what I'm talking about.
Yep.
It was quite refreshing.
You know, I have come to realize that I will ride in about any type of weather, barring the grazing the garage door and it be pouring down raining outside. All right. But I will say there is no replacement for, 70 to 85 degrees, sunshine, and things of that nature. You and I have, I don't know how many times we've left early to go to rallies and riding, whether it's Daytona, Thunder Beach, or whatever it may be, and left with it in the 30s.
Yeah.
And we get halfway there and, leather's coming off, top, everything's coming off, and the saddlebags start packing. And before we get to where we're going, we're in short sleeve shirts and enjoying the weather. But
sure.
So it's all types of weather, but that's the fun of riding, right? You get to ride in the heat, you get to ride in the, we rode in some rain. We came home a couple nights from Sturgis, trying to beat the weather, thought we were smart, and we were not. We got drenched. Like I said, wouldn't have taken off in that, but we just embraced the wet, pulled over under an overpass, tried to hold on, and I told Jeremy and Chris, I said, well, we're already wet. Put it in gear, let's go.
Yeah.
So we just went. But anyway, so all right. Guys, the title of this episode is New Blood, and the reason it is because I mentioned on the last episode when we talked about transitioning that we've started riding with a guy that's a great guy who's got, and I'll let him tell. I was about to tell you what he rides, but that's his job. But we want to welcome in Chris Owens from Coleman, Alabama, and he will be joining us on a pretty regular basis. Chris,
Ready? Give me a beat.
okay, really, there we go. All right, and as you can see, he joins the Beard Clan.
That's right.
DJ is gonna grow one. We're gonna work on it. We've got some salve that we're gonna put on his face to open up the pores, and
We
Gonna have
we need to start a ZZ Top cover band.
ZZ Top.
Yeah, that's my goal.
Yeah, we could probably do that. How you doing, man?
Great. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, so his nickname is Tagalong. All right, we tagged him because every time we talked about going somewhere or doing something, that's all he replies to is, "I'm just here, man. I'm just along for the ride."
Here to tag along.
So he's Tagalong. So,
Okay.
Chris, what kind of bike do you ride? We'll start there, and then maybe we'll backtrack to kind of how we got introduced, and we'll start.
Yeah, sure. Well, I have about a year ago, a little over a year ago, the wife and I purchased a 2020 Harley Davidson Road King Special.
Okay.
And the color is specific, billiard burgundy.
Okay.
And we kind of fell in love with that. The bike had already, the previous owner had already done a stage 3. So I reap the benefits of that.
Right.
Now,
You
so
inherited that.
I did. So I didn't have to do a whole lot of things that I heard you guys talking about on your previous podcast. A lot of the, the cams and the exhaust and all that stuff, all that was already done for me.
Right.
And I'm playing catch up,
Okay.
learning about that stuff after the fact. So
Got you. So let's start with the color, the billiard burgundy.
billiard burgundy.
Now, I didn't know until, by the way, Chris is who went to, we talked about going to Sturgis, and Chris was the one that rode his bike out there. And again, we'll talk about
Yeah,
that,
that's right.
give him an opportunity to talk about that 1,500 miles. But I didn't know until we got out there and he was ordering something from one of my, get back whip guy. That is the color of the pool ball.
That's right.
It's actually called billiard burgundy.
That's right.
So he actually was able to put you together a whip with that color and
Yeah.
everything that matched, and it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, and flashing
So,
lights,
yeah.
changing lights,
That's right.
LEDs. Yeah.
The whole 9 yards.
That's right.
You know, I told him, I was on a live with him the other day. By the way, Twisted Grip 00, a fantastic guy and does some great work. I actually was on a live with him the other day, and I told him, I said, there's a couple things that we need to do. I said, I've got some ideas for you. Now, he's a one-horse guy. All right, him and his daughter and wife, they do all this work. And their family, a little bit of a history, started out by doing horse bridles. That's their world. And they entered into the motorcycle world, started riding, and then realized that, well, they could do whips. And so they started doing whips. But I told him, I said, I have a couple ideas. We can make some money. So I got offline and texted him, and we were communicating. I said, it would be awesome if you could make these whips to where they would tie into the brakes, like Custom Dynamics does their lights. So when you hit the brakes, no matter what they're doing, they would turn red. That's doable.
Yeah.
A little bit of wiring, but that's doable. And I also said, it'd also be cool if you could customize and wrap bars with those, because he uses paracord. And with the LED lighting and all, and then have where they would light. Just some ideas on crazy rally stuff,
Yeah.
It has no practical use at all.
Yeah.
I know that wouldn't be something up your alley. So.
Randy likes some flashy stuff. He does. But chrome is about as flashy as I'm gonna get.
I mean, when it's shining now, there's not much more flashing now, and I don't have chrome these days, so
Yeah, we're anxiously awaiting your purchase.
it's probably going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, DJ, you mentioned in the last episode, or maybe it was just actually, I think a few minutes ago, that you guys were hoping to go to Sturgis because y'all didn't get to go this year due to some of the life's events and all. What do you think would be your goal in going out there to experience? You got a bucket list. You say, hey, when I go here, I got to make sure I do this. We did this to Chris. Hey, you're out here. Give me your top 5 things you got to do, and then we'll try to fit anything else in we can. If not, we'll do them and come back if we're blessed to be able to come back.
I would be going for the riding.
Sure.
I feel like I've been to Daytona. I've number of times. Thunder Beach. I don't really feel like the rally is going to offer a whole lot more to me than what I've already experienced. I could be proven wrong there. Uh, but yeah, that just it goes without saying. I think that the pinnacle of motorcycle riding is the Black Hills and uh, that that general area.
Right.
So that would be my reason for going out there.
I would agree with that. Chris, would you agree? As you've been out there now,
absolutely, 100%. I wanted to go to experience the rally, but my primary driving force, and we talked about this, was the riding. Specific things I wanted to see. Never seen Mount Rushmore. Actually, I'd never been to South Dakota before, so check that off my list. Devil's Tower, beautiful, and what was the park that we went to? It's like the surface of the moon, Badlands.
Oh yeah, Badlands. Yeah,
I mean, just
yeah,
absolutely gorgeous scenery, unlike anything we have in the Southeast.
yeah, yeah. It's and I guess if you're from there, you know, you probably don't see everything the same, or you do realize maybe that you have something, but you're seeing it every day, and it's kind of like us down here. You know, I've had a lot of riders that I'm friends with on social media that will ride through here going somewhere and go, oh my God, you know, it's so beautiful in Alabama. No, it is beautiful, but I see it every day, so I don't necessarily have the same take on it they do.
Right.
But there's no doubt I've been up and down these roads and you know, Lake Garnersville and northeast Alabama and many times when the weather's just right, and it's some beautiful riding.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do, and it's probably the case for everybody. You know, they take for granted what they have in their backyard because it's what they're used to. No, I was with my brother a while back. He was telling me about the story about how when he was out in Utah, he was riding down the road with a buddy. They were in a car, sports car or something, and got pulled over by the police officer, and police officer's looking at his ID. He's like, "Oh, you're from Alabama, huh? Man, I hear it's beautiful there. Everything's so green."
Well, it's called Alabama the Beautiful. Right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, "Well, when you're here,
yeah,
you're right. Everything's green.
yeah.
There's green pastures galore." So, yeah, but it's something different. Of course, you got, you know, we don't have a whole lot of mountainous areas around here. Not a lot of elevation.
Right.
A few little areas, you know, where we might get up, you know, what, a couple thousand feet maybe. But yeah, I want to go out west, further up north, experience some of that.
I think it's a riding experience probably, and I've been a few places. I still got a lot I want to do, but I would say that I'd say it's probably tops. You know, I've been to the Grand Canyon twice, been to Vegas, been to Arizona, rode all over, rode out there and rode back. You know, and of course all over the Southeast, the Blue Ridge Parkway and Natchez Trace Parkway, and you know, and just, but you know, still some areas I want to go to, but I can't imagine anything being an awful lot more better. You know, I tried to explain to some, I said, look, it's, you know, the Black Hills is a lot like a hybrid of Alabama and Arizona. In Arizona, you can see for 100 miles the next mountain because it's flat. And in here, it's green, as we just said, but in the Dakota and the Black Hills area, you get that flat to see the next mountain, but it's not desert, it's green, and there's trees. So you really get the best of both worlds. And but the mountains there, because of how they ride, yeah, it brings on a different approach to it. So, how about let's start with go into talking about your ride out. One of DJ's fantasy rides that he wants to do that it's just eating him up inside. Like, I don't even have to go much further. We've all got grins on our faces because we know it's his horse crap. No, I think he would, given the right opportunity, but he's eager to get the Saddle Store 1000 and the Bun Burner 1500. The Iron Butt Association rides under his belt. Man, he's just chomping at the bit. I've done a couple, and but this one right here, left we were already out there. All right, he leaves Birmingham, Alabama at
my first official timestamp was 2:41 a.m.
2:41 a.m. on Friday, August the first?
Second.
Second.
Yes.
And then proceeds to ride in less than 36 hours. I'll let you take it from there, and because you have a little situation that happened, and that's what I want to get to for sure.
Yeah.
Because that was a miracle.
Yeah, it really was. So originally, I had planned. I have some friends that live up through Kentucky, Indianapolis, and even over into Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And I had planned originally to go that route, a more northern route. Looking at the weather every day leading up to that departure date, it was becoming clear that I was going to be riding through a lot of rain. So ended up recalculating my route, going a southern route, basically from my home in Coleman down to Birmingham, over to Memphis, up Interstate 22 up to Memphis and across Arkansas, then north through Missouri, Iowa, and then west across South Dakota to get all the way to Rapid City and Sturgis. And the event that you're referring to, actually, I was just outside of Joplin, Missouri. And I was in an area where the interstate kind of ran out into a 4-lane highway. It's probably a U.S. highway, something like that. I can't be certain. And while I was still on the interstate, though, I started feeling a little shimmy on the bike, almost like it feels when you got a low tire or something like that in a car. I don't have any, and nothing else to really reference that to. So on this U.S. highway, whatever it was that ran out from the interstate, stopped at a red light, and I'm looking around, checking the bike, trying to figure out what's going on, and I just happened to glance at the engine motor mount.
Oh, yeah.
And the bolt that holds that rocker arm on there, whatever that's called, I'm not sure that that's the proper name for it. That bolt, I thought, had backed out, and I'd lost it somewhere on the interstate. So frantically, I am punching into my GPS, my iPhone. I got to find an auto parts store to get a new bolt to go in this thing. And as I'm riding to O'Reilly's to get a new bolt for this thing, I happened to pass a motorcycle repair shop. And so I thought, hey, I'll pull in here, talk to these guys. They could probably fix me right up. Well, 2.5 hours later, I get back on the road, but these guys were awesome. It was Mike's Motorcycle Shop, and I need to look up the name of that town. And on one of the episodes in the future, I'll talk a little bit more about them if we have time, and I'll give you the exact location of Mike's garage. But those guys, there were 3 of them working on bikes in the garage, and when I walk in, they dropped everything they were doing to look at this problem. Turns out the bolt didn't back out. It broke off inside the mount, which was a little bit bigger deal because
Inside the frame.
Inside the frame.
Yes.
Because they had to drill it out, and that bolt was not cooperating. They had to retap it, put a new bolt in, and they got me back out on the road. The only other small hiccup I had on that ride, I hit the about 1,050 mile mark, got to my hotel the first night, where I was going to sleep for a few hours, and they'd actually given away my room because there were so many people, I guess, migrating towards Sturgis.
Right.
And to be fair, they tried to call me, and I was riding, of course, couldn't answer, but I ended up finding another hotel and slept for a few hours, got up bright and early, and then rode on and met you guys.
And you wound up officially with what was your
1,547 miles in just over 35 hours.
35 hours?
Yeah.
Well, I know when you arrived, you still had, I think you were right at the 1,500 mile marker when you arrived.
Yeah.
But you still had a couple of hours to go. So we rode to lunch and snagged some gas on the way back to the house.
That's right.
So that you could get a few more miles in and get that time stamped.
Right. And I had just ridden 1,500 miles. And of course, Jeremy's like, hey, man, you might want to, take a break, take a nap, something like that. I said, I didn't ride 1,500 miles to take a nap.
That's right.
Let's go get at it. So
that's right.
Yeah. So we went out, ate some lunch, and got some more mileage in. And I got that last gas receipt.
Yeah.
Right there in Rapid City.
We ate lunch at Sicky's Garage.
Yeah.
If you don't know the
Delicious.
Sicky's Sick Boys line of bikes and their builds and their stuff, they've got a restaurant in Rapid City, South Dakota. Pretty cool place with just burger stuff, but it was definitely a cool place to go to.
Yeah, it was.
I'd be down for the burger stuff. The rest of that story, though, as awesome as it sounds.
Yeah.
Not my jam.
Yeah, but and I've said this before, and I'll say it over and over again. Part of the reason why I ride is for those kinds of stories. I love stories. I feel like I'm a storyteller, and I love the experience of something like that. Even though there's hiccups, that just adds to the lore and the pull of the motorcycle riding for me.
I feel as though there's always a hiccup.
Yeah.
There's always a story. I think we've actually said that before.
Yeah.
Randy lobbed out his introduction to you, and that's all well and good. I feel like we skipped right over my introduction.
Yeah. Okay.
Which went something like, Randy shot me a text, said, "Hey, I know you're leaving for Panama City in the morning. There's a guy that's going to meet you at the gas station. He's gonna ride with you."
Right.
I did do that. So
And
I got to
you
back
I
up.
was like,
Yeah.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's this guy gonna
Well,
do?
I knew you already had somebody from the local Zippy Mart,
Yeah,
7-Eleven that was
Yeah.
going to ride down with you.
right.
And so I thought, but you know him, but you don't ride with him on a regular basis. So I thought, what's another bike?
Yeah.
It wasn't a big deal. All was good, but there's always that
chance.
Yeah.
that chance.
I don't know if I've told you this, but DJ comes pull. I'm the first one there at the gas station where we meet up. The other guy and it was two other bikes actually
Yeah.
pulled up. I'm talking to them, then DJ rides up, and I'm seeing things on his bike I've never seen before. Yeah, because I'm new to a lot of this stuff, and I'm like, "Hey, man, you mind if I take pictures of your bike?" He's like, "Yeah, go for it."
That's
So,
good stuff.
yeah.
So it was only 2 weeks before that, maybe. You and I knew of each other through my sister,
Right.
but never met once
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah. Years ago.
We were both married to different people, and
Yep.
kids were much younger and all that kind of stuff. And but she had said he's looking for somebody to ride with. Think you guys might hit it off. So I came up to a place that was we ride to a lot, actually, Gunnerville, which is about an hour's northeast of here.
Right.
Kind of met you one night, reintroduced, and I don't know, the rest was kind of history. You were like, "Yeah, I'd like to go," and I got to say, I mean, because I full disclosure for me, I never have any trouble speaking somewhat the truth. I was even a little hesitant. I was like, I don't. It's kind of like I was watching a video the other day, and the guy, said, "Hey, y'all watch out! My what did he say? Something was on the ground. His vibe was on the ground. Don't step on his vibe. He was having fun, and I was like, I have fun at these rallies. I know this guy. I don't want him to step on my fun, my vibe. I know DJ and I, we know pretty good, but I don't. Okay, so we'll give it a shot. Thunder Beach was one to give it a shot.
Yeah. It was safe.
So I thought, well, it's kind of like videos that I have sent through text to you guys in groups. Some things I'm like, if I have to see it, I'm going to share it with you guys. I'm going to make you have to see it. It could be gross. It could be whatever, So I was like, well, if I'm going to have a new guy, I'm going to give DJ a new guy. Yeah. So, hey, if you weren't thinking about for sure coming, now you are.
Yeah. And I don't know if you were going somewhere with that story after we got on the road, because there's a story out of that.
Yeah. And
that's where I was going.
Touch on that. So here I am. This is, I feel like you and the other people were just kind of going with me, right? I was going on and said, "Hey, let's all meet up. We'll all ride down there together." None of us, you and I had never met before.
Never.
So, yeah. We weren't, like you said, really close or anything. It was just, we live in the same area. We're all going to the same place.
Right.
Good times. So I'm leading, and we hit the interstate. We're trucking along. I don't know. We got from Birmingham. We started off just north of Birmingham. We got I don't know. We stopped for breakfast
Somewhere around Pelham.
Or Alabaster.
Yeah.
And I parked the bike, and you're like, "Dude, you got oil all over us." Yeah, Jeff's like, "I take this. It's in my mouth."
I think it's 30 weight, but no, 50 weight.
It's in my mouth. So we got to looking, and here I am with this nice bike that I just finished building, and I think it's great. And it's blowing oil all over everybody behind me, and we nursed it along down to the dealership in Montgomery.
Did they flank you or get in front of you going the rest of the way down? Or
No, not really. I think really by that time
Gave him a little more distance.
Ah.
Yeah.
yeah. By the time we had gotten that far, I think most of the problem was over. But yeah, had to pull into Montgomery Harley Davidson and let them tweak a couple of things. Ended up not being a big deal, probably my fault, but story for another day. But again, you go on these trips, and it seems like there's always something.
oh yeah,
There's always a story to tell, always a hurdle to overcome, a challenge somewhere along the way.
it is. And I got to say the same thing. You know, whether it's a ride, for a day, to somewhere or a few hours, or for a week or a weekend. I do desire to come back home with memories, whether it's on my camera or in my head.
Yeah.
And the ones in my head are far more vivid and clear and fun than the ones on camera. But some stuff don't make it to camera. Wink, wink. Or gets deleted afterwards.
Thankfully.
Exactly. But no, it's fun. And and you and I and John had talked often about, we'd made numerous trips together and rides together, and had laughs. And we talked in the spring while I think we were in Daytona, that, even going to a rally that we, go to often, we could read it like the back of our hand, know everything in and out, know where all the restaurants, know where all the happenings, nothing's new per se, but being there with friends and the camaraderie, like-minded folks, it's just an opportunity for a short period of time to kind of get away from, reality, I guess, and just kind of have fun and enjoy, laugh, and joke it off a little bit. So that's what we do. So
Yeah, we do a
Yeah,
lot of that.
you always come back with those little nuggets.
oh yeah, you do.
Remember that this one time in Daytona?
Time in Daytona.
We've told that story. When
Wow.
John and I were in Missouri, he led me all over God's creation in Missouri. He had spent some time studying to figure out what routes we needed to ride, and he was leading the way. And there was one point in time I was about out of gas.
Yeah.
Like I was, most of you watching this or hearing this probably got Harleys. At some point, it starts flashing at you, telling you, "Hey, would you like for me to find a gas station for you? Because apparently, dumbass, you're not going to stop."
Apparently, you don't know
So
what one's
I
that.
already cleared that notification, and then it goes, you go down your mileage ranges. It's a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And it's just low.
Yeah.
It's just low range. And
It's no longer giving you how far.
we had been tooling down this winding road for a good little while, and I just kept thinking that there's got to be a gas station. Got to be a gas station. And it never came across one. We were coming up on a stop sign. I saw John put his foot down, and he found, like he was fixing to take off from that stop sign, and I started honking my horn and trying to get his attention, and he finally saw that I was trying to get his attention. I pulled up beside him and I said, "Hey, you remember that one time we was riding around in Missouri and ran out of gas?" He said, "Oh, what are you talking about?" I said, "You got to
You're about
remember
to know. Yeah.
because I ain't leaving my bike. And you're going to be trying to figure out how to get a gallon of gas back to wherever I'm sitting." So one time when John's on here, we'll elaborate on that story, but it was interesting.
But-
One of those, remember that time.
Remember one those times? And we've got them, I guess, in about every city that we've went to, or even talk. I mean, you and I and John have even taken off on a full day and went and just did dealership, shelf, as John likes to call it, shelf
Shelf
checks, and brought back, memories of that. So, but I mean, in the end, whether it's building a bike or riding or doing what we're doing right now, this is kind of what we do. This is why we do what we do. We like it. We enjoy doing it with each other. It's just, and we've got other guys. We've got John that rides with us periodically. And that's another thing that I don't know that we ever even did an episode on back, when we were doing pre-regulars Ragnar, where John actually kind of moved away on us. So that's one of the things also that became a little bit of a cog in the mechanism of being able to get him on consistently. And then we've got Jeremy, my brother-in-law. He'll be joining us some, but just just having fun and rehashing some of this stuff, and then also again talking about things we're doing to our bikes, because we've made some changes, and on the next episode we're going to talk about some of those changes we've made. There's new purchases that are coming up, and things of that nature. So one last thing I'd like to do, if you guys would oblige me here, I want to go back to Chris and get a little bit of, speaking of this one time. So his first rally, again, rode with DJ down. They didn't know one another. Got down. They camped out in the same house, just one wall between them. So again, and I'm in another room, a little bit more than a wall between, but we didn't know each other, but just absolutely had a blast, and it became what appears to be hopefully a lifelong friendship and riding, fun times. But I remember taking him to Frank Brown Park. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
And he had already seen our bikes and some stuff we'd done, and we go scrolling in, and I'm legit, like I'm having to go buy tissue because like he's slobbering out the side of his mouth, and I'm walking around daubing it like a baby cutting teeth. Out of all the things,
In his defense,
That's not
the
not
girl
really an
with the beer
exaggeration.
stands.
well, that's what I was talking about. You thought I was talking about the parks. No.
You're on the beer stands.
Oh my God! But what all started was we went somewhere one night, and where did we go? We went down to
It was a salty goat.
Salty Goat. Is
I don't
the
know if
place.
that's where you're going with this story, but we were
No,
there that night.
we went to
Had to-
well.
We were there every night.
So again, since our last episode, there's been some things happening, because this may turn out to be we may have to tell this story now. So we went to a place down from Thunder Beach, and I can't remember the name of it. It was Grayton's Beach. There was a restaurant down there at Grayton's Beach where there were spring breakers. AJ's at Grayton's Beach.
AJ.
There were some spring breakers. Yeah, it was motorbike week.
Motorbike.
Motorbike week.
Yeah.
All right, so let's scoot back, and then
And
we'll
bachelorette parties.
NBS and lots of them. Anyway, so you got some work done. We were going down to that place, and when we got back, you were like, my headlight, my lights just don't not as bright as yours. And DJ and I were like, well, you got a credit card,
So
We'll hook you up.
I can spend your money better than I can anything else.
I
yeah,
don't consider myself good at a lot of things,
yeah.
but spending somebody else's money,
Oh,
excellent.
I think I've got a degree somewhere, certificate.
Well, when your sister was kind of prepping me to go with
Right.
you,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It is.
when your sister was prepping me to go with you on this trip, or
Right.
meet you down there. She pretty much said, just pull out your credit card and hand it to him. Let him take care of you.
Yeah.
He'll do it. So, and Jeremy said,
Well, that's coming from experience, because the fall rally prior to that, which has almost been a year ago now, Jeremy and I went to Daytona and then to Thunder Beach and did the rounds.
Yeah.
He had never done anything to his bike. I mean, he bought it, and it's bone stock, other than I think he'd bought a seat.
Yeah.
He didn't come home that way.
so yeah, we got to this place, AJ's, and it's nighttime. We're riding there, and when we got to where we were going, I made a comment about my headlight. It's that factory dull yellow,
Halogen yellow light.
that's right,
Yeah.
from Harley. Works okay in the city, but we're out there in the boonies, and DJ mentions all the deer he saw off in the side. I don't know if I would rather know they're there or not know they're there, but I didn't see nothing on the sides of the road. So I knew that's one thing I'm going to have to get done right now, especially with all the night riding that I do. So you guys took me over to the custom was it Rick Rack, or it was Custom Dynamics that?
No, I think it was actually the
Fairing Exchange,
the
wasn't
Fairing
it?
Exchange,
That's right.
which they are a seller of custom dynamic
Right,
stuff.
right.
And I don't know, few $100s later, and
Yeah.
he was
Yeah, that's right. And
you were bright and shining.
so not just the headlight, but the turn signals,
Yep.
the lamps in the front, which are white and turn amber,
Mhm.
you turn on the signal, which is really cool. But also got the whole back end redone, new.
I think that changed the entire
Yeah.
look of the bike,
Yeah.
especially from behind.
Yeah. So if you look at the stock Road King 2020 Road King, you got the two round,
Yep.
They call those little lollipop
Little,
lights.
Yeah,
little T-bar
something like
looking.
that. Yeah, that's right. And it's got the license plate holder tied to it too. So redone that whole back end, and it really I the more lights you have on the back, the more lights people can see, the better.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it was more than a few $100s, but we got all that done.
So
And,
there was this one time at Thunder Beach.
that's right. That's right. But yeah, you guys, and so part of the pull for me and listening to Ragnar Ryder's podcast, and I'm so new to all this stuff, and it was such a blessing for me to be. Yeah, I had been to one other rally, a smaller one up in Tennessee, almost a year ago, several months before going down to Thunder Beach. But I never did any of that vendor stuff. Didn't navigate it. I just did a couple of events and went for the riding. And I
Right.
was only there for a couple of days. So for you guys to kind of take me by the hand, not literally, figuratively, and kind of walk me through, okay, these guys specialize in this. These guys, what do you want to do to your bike? Let's get to that first, and then okay, well here's my contacts with this place. Let's go talk to them. So having that hand to hold. Through that whole experience, and I'm learning a little bit more every day, but
Yeah.
to go have that initial experience at a rally and have vendors do something to my bike on the spot, that was awesome. And that was part of the draw, part of the pull for me to be here.
And I would say that was, in a nutshell, our whole reasoning for doing what we're doing. I mean, to your point that you said in our last episode, I think, was that, you and I and John had sat around and I guess pissed away hours of good conversation and before we started putting them on recording, and realized that we're pretty good at this chatting it up. So, but that was one of the things that we wanted to do. We wished that we had somebody. I remember our first rally together. We go scrolling in down to Destination Daytona, and we go back there and Tony Ash and them, those guys, they're great folks. I have went back and I've taken business to them. They're great folks. But they were putting in stereo systems, and DJ and John went back there and was like, hey, what do you do? Well, I'll do it for this amount of money. Well, we'll be back here in the morning. I come in there and said, well, I got a little bit older bike, and what about mine? I'll do, well, so we all three left there with just revamped stereos and thought we had the baddest thing that had known to man.
Yeah.
We got back and started doing a little research, and we realized that the combination of what they gave us and sold us was great. But as you become educated about it, it was not so great. It wasn't that each individual item was not good in its own manner, but in the system that he sold, which is their way of doing things down there. Hey, we're going to put together this kit. It's XY dollars, and we'll install it, because that's quick, boom, bam money for them to get bikes in and out of those rallies.
Sure.
We realized that it wasn't. So since then, we've had some other builds, bought some other bikes, and we've done things a little bit different. Mainly because, we're not nearby Tony, and he couldn't go in there and customize what we wanted for him. But
so, if I may, listeners, viewers, they're probably gonna to listen and watch and go, why is Chris involved in this whole conversation? And I am the demographic. I coming into this, I'm just thankful to tag along, like we've talked about before, tag along Chris. But I'm going to ask a lot of questions that listeners and viewers probably already know the answers to. But the gal that we're going after, the listener that we're going after, probably going to ask a lot of the same questions I do. Probably going to have a lot of the same first experiences and thoughts and ideas and things like that pop in my head that they're going to have. So hopefully on this journey, I don't embarrass myself too much, and maybe it's going to help create some good content for people out there like me.
well, I would say we had the same question. I mean, that's why we're here, right?
Yeah, sure. And you seek answers to those questions, and you find yourself at drag strips and race tracks and audio competitions and bike shows and rallies, and you try and just pull all that information together and share what you know.
I mean, we've talked to Hey, I'll name a few because I have, we don't get sponsored by anyone. And, I used to make a little disclaimer on our, I guess I need to do it again, but we're not professionals. So anything that we say is, there's no legal binding that we're telling you to do it or not do it. If you want to make changes to your bike, seek your local mechanic and get some, some advice from him. But at the end of the day, we've talked to Cicada, we've talked to Sounds, we've talked to Volunteer Audio, we've talked to Sinister. I mean, I think we've talked to them all at some point, and including some independent guys around here and the Harley shops about audio before we kind of settled on where we wanted to be with everything. So we've always said, don't be afraid to ask questions. That's the thing.
And I will, definitely.
Good. For sure, for sure. DJ, what else you got before we wind this one down? Anything?
No, not in particular. I do think we need to make mention. I think our intent here is to not just be limited to motorcycles. I know that's going to be the bulk of our content, but I look forward to just kind of sharing life with you guys as well.
Yeah. Yes. Probably, and I thought about it after our transition podcast. That should have been part of that discussion. Our goal here at Southern Two Lane, even though the name indicates motorcycle riding, is to really talk about a gambit of things. We want to talk about, like DJ said, life, family, and yes, religion, politics. I'm not here to convince you to believe what I believe, nor am I'm going to listen and believe or whatever it is that you may believe if you comment below or send us messages. But I believe we should be a world of willingness to open and listen. And then we make our own decisions based off of that. That's part of our founding fathers' desire in the Constitution, as well as what we believe as Judeo-Christian folks, in that the biblical version is the same. But yes, that is our goal, and I want to be able to do that. We may have an episode that we don't even talk about motorcycles. I can't imagine that, but could be one. Where we talk about events in life and happenings in life. Matter of fact, I'd like to get John on one day here pretty soon and talk about the little one that was just born.
Yeah.
They had some complications, and that was again part of the things. And I won't go into that; it's not my place. But I'd let him do it if he wants to. And they have themselves a little miracle baby. And we're excited for them. Definitely exciting times ahead, and we're excited and looking forward to it. And I will say this too: we are in a basement in one of our homes here, and you can see his motorcycle stuff in a wall behind us. A lot of events, but some of this will be morphing and changing as we go along, just simply because we needed to kind of get this thing underway. So we're makeshift doing. We're also recording here off of some DJI mics and an iPad, using StreamYard. A combination of everything. Pretty good. So if you see imperfections or the sound is not the best or whatever, just know that we are improving and we're going to continue to work on it. That's another aspect that Chris brought to it, is that he's done some of this in the past, like myself. DJ has also done some of this, doing some, shall I make a pun here and say you've actually done some DJing in the past? Yeah,
Okay.
I did. You see where I went with that, didn't you? I like it.
DJ the DJ.
So DJ the DJ. Back in the years ago, where he hosted some radio shows and did some stuff, and Chris and I, and all three of us actually at one time or another, have stood in the pulpit, done music and some other aspects in life. So, but here we are. But anyway, we want to try to make this as good as we can and as enjoyable as we can, and the best technology we can that's affordable to us. So in the meantime, if Dixon or Reinhardt or some of our good buddies out there that we buy a lot of stuff from wants to sponsor, I'll give you my cash out.
Moscow
Moto. That's right.
Shut up.
All the shout outs. We've
Zoom
bought
on the
stuff
Dixon
from
hat.
all. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I don't have my Dixon hat on this time. I had it on last one. Nasty Baggers, got your stuff on here. Clockworks, got your stuff on. So hey, we'll give shout outs. We don't mind if we got good quality stuff. We're definitely going to wear it, use it, and give you shout outs. But looking forward to more. In the meantime, God bless you guys. Thanks, Chris, for coming on. Looking forward to more.
Yeah, you bet.
And TikTok is at Southern Two Lane. YouTube is at Southern Tulane. Instagram is at Southern Tulane. And I think we have an email address, but we're going to get together with all that and be a little better prepared here in the future. In the meantime, God bless you. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, Southern Tulane out.